Hey guys, welcome to Unaka Gear Co. I'm Brad. Today we are going to walk through installation of a Promaster premium roof rack. Now, a couple things to point out. You guys told us and we listened. We have made things a lot easier by now you'll receive your entire rack in a single box versus 2 to 3 boxes for hardware, fairings, etc. So we've done a lot of improvements on our racks, especially with how you're going to receive it. You'll get these boxes in this shape. And then there's also a couple of other exciting upgrades that I will share with you shortly. Let's go ahead and open this up and take a look. Okay guys, so we've taken a couple of our components out of the box, and I wanted to take this just a second to show you all of the new updates for this version of our roof rack we're super excited about, and I think you're gonna love it. The first one is a major improvement. It's on our wind fairing. We now have a single weldment piece on our wind fairing, so this bad boy out of the box is ready to go. And this saves so much time with the installation, not having to fool with additional plates and bolts. It's going to save you time and headache. Wonderful, wonderful improvement. I think this is one of the best things. Another thing that is a vast improvement is we have updated a lot of our hardware. Now we have additional new types of T-nuts that make the install process even faster as well. And then everything that comes in hardware now is black Dacrymac coated. This is a really corrosion resistant coating on here. It looks really nice, and it's going to just make this thing bomber. We have updated not only our hardware to be black, we've also improved the powder coat that comes on all of our pieces as well. We now have a super weather resistant powder coat on all of our pieces that is supposed to last many more years than a standard coating. Some of the final updates that we have done is we have standardized our plates, now features our stainless steel logo on the side. So it gives you that really clean and sleek look. And the final new update is we have revised our splice plates. This is what holds your 80/20 together, and I will show you how this is installed in just a little while. But this is a new feature, and it allows you even more flexibility when on your roof having your access to your top channels. So now we're going to go ahead and start on our step of pre-installing some of the hardware in a couple of key brackets. So just follow along with your installation manual, and I'm going to walk through it now. So first step is going to be taking out your crossbar narrow connectors, and we're going to put those bolts together. So we'll pull out T-nuts, and we will pull out the 3607 bolts. Now remember, as you pre-install these bolts and T-nuts, you're going to keep them loose. That way you can slide it into the 80/20 channels. For the narrow crossbar connectors, don't attach the double T-nut yet. Leave those out. Okay, so with the new inside channel splice plates, they should have the set screws already in place, but if they are not in place, go ahead and put those in now. Just don't tighten them so much, that way it won't slide into the channel. Mine are already done, so that step's complete. Now we'll put the pre-installation of the 2-inch T-nut onto the back of the adapter plate. So I'm going to go ahead and pre-install those now, again keeping them loose. All right, so we have all of the adapter plates installed with the 2-inch T-nut. We got the nubs facing on the inside, or I guess away from the actual adapter bracket. Next, we're going to pre-install the T-nuts and bolts into our side plates. Now, keep in mind, this is a different bolt than what we have just been using. This is actually item number 27 on the parts list, and it is the 5/16 5/8 flange button head, and it ends in 304. So it's slightly shorter. So make sure that you don't mix these up. We'll go ahead and start putting these in now. As I'm installing these T-nuts and bolts, one thing that keep in mind too is you'll notice one more upgrade on our hardware is that all of our bolts that are stainless steel connection to stainless steel now have Loctite pre-applied to the threads, so you don't have to fool with dabbing Loctite on there anymore. and then making a mess. All right, so one note to make sure as you're pre-installing the bolts on your rear plates, you're gonna wanna flip one of them so that way you have the bolts going on the right side or orientation, because you have one passenger side plate and one driver side plate. So I just flipped this one, and now we're gonna complete installing. Repeat the same steps for your front plates, making sure that your bolts are going in through the side that has your logo plate on it. All right, so we've completed our pre-installation of most of our bolts. We're now going to start installing the narrow crossbar brackets onto our crossbars. Now let me show you one of the other cool updates. All of our 80/20 style extrusion is now coming powder coated black for our premium racks. And it also features a nice little drop-in slot for your slide-in T-nuts. Because if you're anything like me, it's super frustrating getting up there on the roof, having installed a crossbar, wanting to put my solar panel on there, and then realizing, oh crap, I did not put any T-nuts in here, now I gotta take it all apart. This eliminates that, makes it very nice to be able to slide those in or not have to buy drop-ins. So we're gonna begin pre-installing our brackets. You can use the tool that comes with the kit. We'll keep these loose, but we'll also make sure that you slide the long end of the T-nut center of the channel towards the inside, and then we'll put these on here kind of loose. We're gonna do this for all of our crossbars. And as I am installing these brackets, I'll talk a little bit more about the new feature of the powder coat finish. So one of the benefits to the powder coat, especially since it is the super weather resistant, not only does it give you more longevity with the look and finish, it also helps with scratch protection. And it is another differentiating factor between our premium racks and our standard racks, which currently still feature the black anodized coating. So these are really nice. We're excited about it. We'll finish installing these brackets on the rest of these. All right, people, so now we are gonna go up to the van roof. We're gonna take with us all of our Promaster adapter brackets and Promaster roof rack brackets. Make sure that you have your 2-inch T-nut pre-installed if you haven't already done so. The only other tool that you're gonna need at this moment is 1/2-inch socket or a 1/2-inch wrench. We're gonna go up there and start putting these on. Okay, so what we are doing now, we are gonna install our Promaster roof rack brackets. We'll take the inside nut channel and place it around the cleat. Take your top channel, slide it into place. Just make sure your rubber feet stay in where you want them. And then we'll take the adapter plate, making sure that the plate is facing to where the T-nut is on the outside. Put the washer and lock washer in place. We will loosely tighten these back into position. We have still not torqued anything of our hardware, so we are not to that step where we're torquing anything. The reason why we want to keep these loose as we begin to install the 80/20 rails, you want to be able to have some flexibility so you can slide it and jiggle if you need to. We'll repeat that step for all of our mounting points on the roof now. Okay, now it's time to put on our side rails. So we're going to go ahead and slide those into position. You can put the drop slots either in the front or the rear or center, however you would like. The first step with these side rails though is splicing them together. To hold them in position, I'm going to go ahead and get the rear bar in place. I'm going to slide it forward a bit, and we're going to pick up our new internal splice channel, and we're going to put this on the bottom, and I'm going to just gently tighten it up a bit so it stays in place. And we will do the same with the bottom and the internal channel here, and that's going to allow us to not use up any of our top 80/20 channel. You can put these on any channel that you want, so there is that flexibility. And we will now splice together just like so. And I know I will need to slide this back a bit, but we're going to tighten these up. And once they are tight, you can go ahead and torque these all the way. 132 inch-pounds is your torque spec. One thing to keep in mind with these set screws, don't tighten them so much, or if you begin to feel like they're going to strip, don't keep going. If it's mega tight, you're good. I feel good there. Now we'll work on positioning. The measurement from this front adapter bracket to the end of the 80/20 should be 6 3/4. So we are going to get that in place now, and we will tighten up once that's right. Okay, so we have one side rail in place. We'll repeat this step on the other side, and then we'll begin to tighten up these bolts as well. All right, so now that I've got both my side rails in place and I've got these internal splice plates connected, man, I'm just super excited about these because this is such a game changer as well for our racks, because it allows your top channel to be completely clear with no interference of other brackets. So it gives you even more flexibility and options for placement of crossbars or solar panels or any other tie downs, features that you want, like deck panels. Anything. The possibilities are insane. So really excited about that. I think this is an excellent improvement. Okay, next step is going to be installing our crossbar assemblies and setting the side rail width. So we're going to make sure we have all of our double T-nuts for this step and 3607 bolts. And we'll grab our crossbars and begin to put those in place. Now, we recommend to have one towards the front of your rack. We'll put 2 in the center and 1 towards the rear. Your solar panel will take up these crossbars, but this exercise is just making sure that we're getting the rack square and that the width is consistent throughout. So I just have everything placed loosely right now. And this is where you will see why we have not torqued anything down or tightened anything, because we'll have the flexibility to push the rack in and out to get it squared up. Using this drop-in slot for my T-nuts, and just as a reminder, make sure that you put your T-nut in the channel with the nub side in the center of the channel. That way it elevates the T-nut so you can grab. So I'm going to measure off the front of the rack here. Just an easy measurement. We're going to go 42 inches so that way we can get this square. And you will repeat the same thing on the other side. Same measurement, so that way everything's square. All right, so we've got some crossbars set on that side of the van. To get the width of the rack set, again, why we kept everything loose is now we're on the opposite side of the van. We're going to tighten down this side of the crossbar, but while we do it, we'll push together so that way we're getting the rack tight and square. So the same measurements that you took from the opposite side, do here, push it into place as you tighten up. So we'll make sure that we're in the same spot. 3/4. And we will repeat this process going down the van. After you get the width set, we go back and torque the bolts on the adapter brackets and the bolts on the button head bolts on the adapter brackets as well. And that will set the width. All right, everyone, so we have already gone back and we have torqued all of our adapter bracket bolts and button head screws to spec. The next step is going to be sliding on our side plates. So we have pre-installed all of the bolts earlier. So now we're just going to grab our side plates, make sure you got the correct passenger or driver side plate, and take it to the end and just simply line up your T-nuts, slide it in. If you encounter resistance while you try to slide, you can loosen up these bolts or jiggle it to get it to where you can slide easily. You'll line up the plate with the edges of the 80/20. So we'll have the front plate here lined up flush with the 80/20. And then once you have both of your plates in place, we'll go ahead and tighten those up. And I may have to reposition here because I don't think I can reach that. All right, now that we have our side plates secured and they are torqued to spec, we are going to install our wind fairing. Now this process is going to be a whole lot easier than previously with our new revisions. And again, I'm excited to show you how this works. We did this new style of installation to make it faster, to where you can actually access and tighten this from one angle versus having to try and get another wrench or socket on the inside when this is a tight space. This will also allow you to be able to remove this wind fairing more easily if you need to change a configuration up front or add something, or get in here and clean if you have debris that's collected in there. But the only thing to make sure of is don't drop or lose this T-slot nut that goes on the back of this plate. So keep in mind, make sure you are comfortable or have a friend to help you make sure you don't drop the fairing down the front of the van. But we'll go ahead and get this kind of slid into place. This will sit on the outside of the side plates, so it's going to be nice and snug. The T-nut that you'll need to use actually slides into the top channel of the 80/20. I'm going to take this back a little bit. It'll be easier to just slide it in first, and then we'll get our T-slot nut in place. You may want to use a piece of tape or something to hold that so it doesn't fall. I'm able to squeeze my finger up underneath here just enough to hold that so I can get this bolt started. And we will repeat this process on the other side, and then after we repeat this process and get those bolts in place, we're going to angle the wind fairing how we like to make sure we have a good fitment, and then we'll go back and torque to spec. All right, so Eric's got his side complete where it's captured with the bolts. Now for positioning, what we're going to do, just to get it to where we like the look, we will push this back all the way as far as we can, and then to get a good seal for that bulb, I'm going to apply some pressure just to push the fairing down and get this tightened up. And Eric's going to do the same thing on his side so we have a symmetrical look. As you're tightening this up, just make sure that T-slot bolt stays captured in the side plate channel so we get the right angle. The other thing to consider, if you're having a hard time getting your hands in a spot, like this would be difficult if my hands were a little bit bigger, so you can just move this bar out of the way if you need to. so that way you have better access. That's the great thing with how modular these racks are. You can move things around very easily and quickly. All right guys, so we actually moved this front crossbar just a second ago because we're about to install some solar panels on the rack. But now that our wind fairing is actually in place, that's technically the last step of the rack installation. What we're going to do at this point, like I said, we're going to go ahead and start installing some solar panels. And I noticed also, if you ever have any struggles with getting your hand in place for the fairing, you can just move that crossbar. Remember, this was just in front to set the width of the rack. Once that rack was set and we tighten this up, you can move that. And again, it's so easy to move and because of the modular setup here. Thank you guys for tuning in. And remember, if you have any questions, hit us up, like and subscribe, and be sure to check out our website as we have a lot of new products that are about to launch. I'm super excited.